Hi everyone and welcome along to today's webinar. So today we're going to be introducing you to the new SuiteFiles Outlook add-in. It's had a little bit of a makeover as well as we've added a couple of new features in there as well. So I'll just introduce myself first of all. My name is Roshni and I am part of the customer success team here at SuiteFiles. So what we're going to cover off today is, if you don't already have the latest version, I'll talk a little bit about how you install the latest Outlook add-in, as well as how to log in to the add-in. I'll take you through the new look and where you might be able to find some of the things that have just moved around ever so slightly. We've introduced a new feature which allows you to auto-save email conversations into SuiteFiles, and I'll talk a little bit more about that and show you how to use it. Once you start auto-saving your email conversations, you might want to just manage them, delete them, and keep track of what you've got active at any given time. So I'll take you through how to manage your auto-save rules. We've made a slight change to the way you can drag and drop your files into the Outlook add-in. So for those of you who are new to the add-in, I'll do a bit of a recap on that, as well as show you a slight change that we've made to that functionality. And for those of you that aren't aware, we also allow you to categorize your email templates. So if you're using email templates but don't have them categorized yet, this helps you keep things nice and organized, and I'll show you how you can do that via the SuiteFiles web app. Of course, we'll have some time at the end for Q&A, so if you've got any questions or any feedback on the Outlook add-in, then there'll be plenty of time to cover that off at the end. If you do have any questions as we go along, then hopefully you can find the Q&A section in the webinar tool nice and easily. Just pop your question in there and then I'll save all of the questions and answers till the end. Okay, so let's jump in and take a look at the new Outlook add-in. So for those of you that are brand new to SuiteFiles, or you don't have the add-in installed yet, then what you'll need to do is you'll need to download it from our download center. So in order to do that, you'll need to jump into the SuiteFiles web app. So the web app is the version of SuiteFiles that you just access via your browser. Once you're there, click on your username in the top right corner, select Download Apps, and then download and run the latest version of SuiteFiles for Outlook from there. We recommend that you have Outlook closed at that point, and when you open Outlook back up, you'll be presented with this screen. Now, for those of you that already have the Outlook add-in version installed on your computer, you don't have to worry about this step. But if you do have the old-looking Outlook add-in, you will notice a little new update available message that's just in the top right corner of the app in the add-in, so roughly about here. Just click on that and that will refresh your view and you'll have the latest and greatest, and it should log you in automatically. Now, if you are presented with this login screen, just an overview of the basic versus the advanced login option. Now, the basic login option will ask you for all of your credentials. So those would be your SuiteFiles site URL, your Office 365 email address, and your Office 365 password. For those of you who have two-factor authentication on your Office 365 account, you'll need to use the advanced login option, and that will ensure that you don't have any problems or any roadblocks logging in to the system. I don't have two-factor auth set up on my demo account, so I'm just going to show you what the basic login option is. So you click on that option and then you'll need to enter in your site URL. So mine is demosuite.sharepoint.com. Yours might be .sharepoint.com. It might have some extra extra bits of information after the .com, you'll need to check with your SuiteFiles administrator on what your SuiteFiles site URL is if you're not familiar with it. But this is mine, and then I'm going to enter in my Office 365 email address. So just use the same credentials that you use when you log in to SuiteFiles in the web. And then click log in once you've pasted your Office 365 password. And that will just check to make sure that you have, as part of your SuiteFiles plan, you have access to the add-in. And once you're logged in, you'll be presented with your SuiteFiles site. So I'll address everyone as if they've already been using the Outlook add-in. I know a lot of the people that have joined us today are existing customers, so I'll just take you through mainly what has changed. So first of all, we have a brand new look, which you can see it's a lot cleaner. We kind of like it, but we might be a little bit biased. But what it does is it just cleans everything up, and we've changed the location of a couple of key features. So you still can navigate around to find the folder that you're wanting to, say, file any email correspondence into. So you can do the typical navigation through there, but if you're wanting to perform an action on a particular file type, rather than right-clicking the file, you'll now find your file options within these three dots that just sit alongside the file name. So here you can see for this particular file type, which is a .msg, so it's an email file type, we have the ability to attach it to a new email. We can send it as an expiring link. We can rename the file, and by renaming the file in the add-in, we will also see that renaming take effect in both the SuiteFiles web app, as well as if you are using SuiteFiles Drive, that rename will come through there as well. And if you're wanting to view the email in the browser, then you can select Open in Browser, and that will open up that email message within the SuiteFiles web app. What you see in these file options will depend on the file type. So if we jump down to, say, a Word document, click those file options there, you can see that we also have the ability to download and open the file. We can also edit the Word document in Office because it is a Microsoft Office product, but we also have the ability to do the same things that you can do with an email message. You'll also see the ability to star or favorite an item is now front and center. If you favorited an item outside of the add-in, so maybe you have favorited a new client folder in the web app, that will come through and you'll be able to easily see if a file or a folder is a favorite. And of course, we've got the favorites shortcut at the top of your list here as well. The other thing that has changed is the ability to now drag and drop your files from within your inbox into a folder without actually having to open the folder itself. So just a little tip there, if you are looking for a client folder, I tend to use this search up the top. So this defaults to your client folders. You can also filter those by emails or just everything across your site, but I'll keep it simple and we'll do a search for one of our clients here. And so you can see that we've got some correspondence between myself and Mitzi. So that's Mitzi's Waffles, and we've got a correspondence folder here. So I don't even need to jump into the correspondence folder anymore. I can be at this level here where I see the correspondence folder, and I can drag and drop the file or the email into the correspondence without having actually needed to open that folder in the first place. So I'm not just going to do that just yet because I want to do some more things with this particular email, but just note that that's another thing that has changed, is the ability to just drag and drop without needing to be in the folder itself. Another thing that you will have noticed has changed is that we have removed the filtering options. So we used to have a little blue banner below the client name that had your name, date, file type filter, and email filter. So by default, all of your folders and files when in a particular folder will default to displaying in name order. So that's essentially alphabetical order. I find what's quite handy is if you are in the correspondence folder and say this isn't something that you're working in every day, you might want to see what the latest correspondence was and you want to do that via the Outlook add-in. You can click the filter option here or the view switch and click that once and then just change it to say the date so that you can see the latest and greatest communication. Just note you can click on a file and you can scroll down and view the email. If you're wanting to action something, so maybe you want to now send a response or you want to forward this email to someone, rather than searching for it in Outlook, you could download and open that message in Outlook via SuiteFiles. So to do that, just click on the Outlook icon here. That's going to download a copy of that email, and that's just opened up in on my other screen here. And from there, you can do what you would normally do with an email, whether it's reply or forward, etc. So the status bar here, that can just be closed. That just tells you the status of that particular item that you've just performed an action on. You can just close or just minimize that and just use the navigation to get back, and perhaps you want to switch it back to name, and that will display all of your folders in your view. Now, in terms of what else has changed is that we have the new Autosave emails functionality. So what that means is that when you are saving an email, so when you're sending an email maybe to one of your clients, you'll have the option, you'll now see a little checkbox that says auto save all emails in this conversation. So we'll use this email as an example. So we've got this, this order confirmation that's come through, and when I reply, when we hit send on that email, we are going to get prompted with the save on send message. So this save on send message has had a makeover as well. So what's different is that if you're wanting to save the email, it's going to be automatically selected by default. If for whatever reason you don't want to save the email into SuiteFiles, you do have to select the option here, and that will just change the button to send rather than send in file. So let's take a look at the send and file option. Here we can rename the file, and that will change that name in SuiteFiles once it's saved into SuiteFiles. The location drop-down. Now this is going to have perhaps no suggestions when you first start using it, but as you start to use it more and more, you should find that the suggestions get smarter and smarter. So it's going to be across your organization. So if somebody else is working with another client, you would expect to see them perhaps in this list. But once we can identify, say, the domain of a person, their email address, and we match that up, especially if you're utilizing, you'll have to be utilizing the Xero Practice Manager or Workflow Max integration, we'll start to see these suggestions getting smarter. The very first time you use it though, it's likely going to be blank. Just click the edit button, and that's going to take you into the Outlook add-in. The easiest way to locate the folder that you want to save this email into is to again head into the search here. I'm just going to type in my client's name, select that folder, and I want that to be filed in their correspondence folder. Then select choose location. That will show you exactly where that's going to be saved. And we also have this auto save all emails in this conversation checkbox checked. So what this means is that when Mitzi replies to my email, if she does, when she replies, that correspondence will actually automatically get filed into the correspondence folder for Mitzi Waffles Limited. So that just saves me having to drag and drop individual replies that come in to my inbox into the folder in the Outlook add-in. So it's saving a couple of steps there. If you don't want to auto-save all emails in that conversation, just uncheck that box. So we're going to send and file it. And what will happen is I'm just going to jump into that inbox and wait for that reply to come in. Of course, under the sent items, we can see that that email has been filed. So you're still going to get that added to SuiteFiles category label attached automatically. And then what's going to happen is I'm just going to reply to that email from my from Mitzi's inbox. And the other thing that this means is that if you are out and about, so say you are replying to emails on the go, if you've set up an autosave rule for an email conversation at your desktop, so by using the desktop app here, and then you're out and about, you reply back and forth. When you come back to the office and you open up Outlook, then you'll find that those conversations have been added to SuiteFiles automatically. So it doesn't happen from the app on your cell phone, but it will happen via the desktop app the next time that you load up the program. So you can see here that not only has the original email been saved, but the reply has, although I haven't read it yet, I can see that the conversation has been automatically added into SuiteFiles for me. So I don't have to do a thing. I don't have to manually drag and drop the email in, and I can start to get a really good idea as I work through my day, which emails have been saved into SuiteFiles and which ones haven't. So for example, we have a different email that came through from Mitzi with my invoice attached for my order. So one of the things around the SuiteFiles Outlook add-in is that you don't necessarily need to save the body of the email itself. As you'll most likely know, you can also drag and drop invoices or any other attachments that you have in your emails into a folder in SuiteFiles. So maybe we want to just pop that in. I'm just going to pop it into the 2020 folder. I'm going to drag and drop that PDF attachment into SuiteFiles and close that. So that's now been uploaded into SuiteFiles for me. Just note, if you're only dragging and dropping attachments and not the actual email itself, you won't get the added to SuiteFiles category labeled as such. Now, let's say that I want to remove this autosave rule for this particular conversation. I can jump into my settings in Outlook and select, so that's the cog icon here, then select the autosave rules. And you can see here, if we just widen that a little bit, you can see I've got a couple of autosave rules set up for my mailbox, and one of them is the thanks for your waffle order. So from time to time, you might want to delete them. There's no harm in leaving them there, but I'm just going to delete that rule just so you can see how to do that. So you should have a little delete icon. If you don't, you can also right click the item and select delete rule, but you should have the delete icon there. You might just need to make your add-in a little wider if you can't see it. and then it'll just say, are you sure? Click yes, and then that will be removed. So the next time that I send an email with the subject line, it's going to prompt me with the save on send rule again. So I'm going to have to complete that step. If I still had the rule active, then what would happen if I was to continue on this conversation with Mitzi, then I'm not even going to be prompted to save on send. It's going to recognize that there's a rule in place, and it's just going to automatically save that email when I send it. The other thing to note about the save on send rule is how it works behind the scenes. So we're just looking for the subject line and the recipients to match. And that doesn't count anything like a re or a forward prefix on the subject line. So we're just looking at the subject line itself and the recipients. So anyone in the to and CC fields. Provided that those stay the same, then we'll be able to continue to automatically save those email conversations into SuiteFiles for you. If Mitzi was to change the subject line when she replied to me, then that autosave rule will stop working because the subject line is now different, and we'll have to manually file that reply back into SuiteFiles. So just keep an eye on that, and if also the recipients change, if someone is removed or added to the conversation, then the autosave rule will stop working again. The other thing to note is that if you are composing emails and you're utilizing the BCC field, just note that the autosave rule can't work, and that's just because the recipient, it just means automatically or straight away that autosave rule can't be honored, just because the recipient won't be including that BCC recipient in their email either. So it's unlikely that that scenario is going to be covered off by this little autosave checkbox. So that's it in terms of the autosave email functionality, as well as managing your autosave rules. Some of the feedback that has come in since we launched the new Outlook add-in has been really great. We have had people request the ability to not be automatically prompted to autosave their conversations. So that's cool. We have taken that feedback on board, and what you're going to see, and we'll announce this once it's available to download, but what will happen is that if I'll just draft up a little email. What will happen is that when you go to autosave all emails in this conversation, if you don't want to have that setting enabled, just uncheck it the first time, send and file that email, and then the very next time you use the save on send function, it's going to remember that last used setting rather than automatically defaulting it to a checked box each and every time. So as I said, we'll let you all know once that is available, or just keep an eye out on the little new update available messaging in the app. That's one of the things that we will be changing. Okay, now the last thing that I'm going to cover off today is about categorizing your email templates. So as some of you will be aware of, you have the option to, when you're composing new emails, you can insert them from a template. So you can template your emails, correspondence that you're sending time and time again. You can create an email template in SuiteFiles and insert from template and populate that if you want to with client information that's stored in Workflow Max or Zero Practice Manager. So here you can see I have a few templates on the go. A couple of them are filed away into this engagement category, and then the other two that were created in February are uncategorized. So in order to categorize our email templates, we can head over into the template manager in SuiteFiles. I'm just going to click on that. That's opening up in my other screen here. So this is the template manager. Now, this can only be accessed by administrators or it can be accessed by other users who've been given the permission to manage templates. So if you can't access this area, it's likely that you don't have access to the more manage templates area in SuiteFiles. So you can talk nicely to your admin if you want to get access to this. If we just jump into the emails category on the left-hand side here, you can see also that we have a whole bunch of a whole bunch of categories that we have set up previously for our SuiteFiles site. This is for our demo site. Yours might be empty. So if you're wanting to add new categories to help you organize your email templates, just click the little plus out to the side of categories, type in the name and then click create category. That will add that to your list. And then as far as your email templates are concerned, if you just click on emails there, that will just present you with only your email templates. And let's say we want to categorize this one, click the three dots, select add to category, and select from this list the template category that you want to add it to. One thing to note is that you will just need to restart Outlook in order for that to take effect. But I added this demo email template to my engagement folder earlier this afternoon, closed down Outlook, opened it back up, and once I did that, it categorized itself accordingly. So just note that you just need to do a little close and reopen of Outlook to have that take effect. So that one has been kicking around for a wee while now, so you might have stumbled upon it, but I thought I'd just cover that off as well, just to make sure that you're making the most out of your Outlook add-in. Now, if there's anything else that you were hoping I would cover in today's session, but I haven't, then please do feel free to add your questions in the Q&A section in the Zoom tool. I'll hang around for a little while longer to answer any questions that come in. If you have any feedback on the Outlook add-in, the best way to reach us is either by emailing us at support@suitefiles.com, or you do also have a provide feedback button within the web app. So if you wanted to jump onto that and provide any feedback, the more feedback that we have on both Outlook and the entire product, the better we'll be able to make those changes and bring all of those new features out to you. It does bring me to the end of the session. So as I said, any questions, feel free to reach out. We also do have a lot of information available on our Help Center. So if you click on your username from the web app, click Help Center, that will take you through to help.suitefiles.com. And either pop your search query in the search here. The Outlook add-in information is under apps and integrations. So you might want to start with installing the SuiteFiles Outlook add-in, or you can see all articles and that will jump you to a range of information around SuiteFiles for Outlook. Perfect, so we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for attending. We'll be posting a recording of this webinar up on our YouTube channel. We'll share that with everyone that registered. So if you're wanting to look back on this or share it with your team, then you'll be able to do so in the next day or so. Thanks everyone so much for attending, and we'll stick around for any questions. Otherwise, hope to see you again at another webinar in the near future. Thanks everyone. For those that have stuck around, we actually don't have any questions that have come through. So I'll close the session here. But if you do have any feedback or questions on the Outlook add-in or anything at all, then please feel free to reach out to us via email at support@suitefiles.com. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks so much for coming along.